I always say, man, and you can look at it in youth sports today. Kids are the easy part. Adults, we make it difficult. You know, our egos get in the way and all those different kind of things. And I know when I was coming, you know, the rumor mill was put out there that, he coming in and he firing everybody. And I'm like, this is high school sports. Like, this isn't college where you can just bring in who you want. Like, you even if I had 12 to 15 people lined up to come from Florida, like, we got to have teaching jobs. All that stuff has to line up. So we had to come in here and make sure we establish relationships right away. And I think that was the biggest piece of trying to get the buy-in from the adults, of letting them know, like, I'm not some dictator. You know, my leadership style is different. I think that I do a good job of making sure my coaches feel included in what's going on.
Welcome to the Travis Roland Football Show. This is Coach Travis Roland, Camden County Wildcats, first-year coach. Everything. Coach, I just want to know a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit about yourself.
Born and raised Daytona Beach. Been there all my life. I tell everybody, since coming up here, this is like going off to college since I was blessed to stay at home and go to Bethune. But, like I said, born and raised in Daytona. Thomas and Rose were my parents, two great people. My mom retired just last year as assistant superintendent. I make the joke I took her grandkids from her, and so now she's going back to work, back in the district again. But just, glad to be here, man. And like I said, blessed to, learn a lot of lessons in Daytona that have helped me get to this point in life, and blessed to be in this position to take over a program like Camden County High School.
That's good. So you won the state championship last year.
Yes, sir. Yep.
At your own school.
Yes, sir.
20 years later.
20 years later. I'm old now.
Did you win one there too?
Won one as a player. Was blessed to be a captain of one of our 6 captains of our state championship team in high school. As a junior, we lost in the 4th round of the playoffs. Never forget crowning that field with some of our senior guys, because we lost a lot of good talent after our junior year, and we weren't sure how good we were going to be. We made a vow to ourselves to get back to the 4th round and see if we can break through the door, because we never broke through the door. And we're the first team to make an appearance in the state championship game in 2003. We were able to beat Naples High School and claim that first state championship evolution flag of history. And then 20 years later, man, God saw fit to let me become the head coach of Mainland High School, be the leader that my daddy told me I was all my life. Every day dropping me off at school, every day telling me I was a leader. And we were able to get done last year, 20 years later. It was a true blessing. We won on December 12th when I was in high school, and we played on December 7th last year. So just a great blessing, storybook. Couldn't ask for more, and it's just blessed. Like I said, I'm just blessed to be in that position to be able to get it done with the guys that bought in with us as a program.
What do you think about the move here at Camden and following Coach Herring?
Right.
Coming in, and I was talking to you earlier. I just think he's one of the greatest program builders I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
With his organization skills and stuff like that. And coming behind that, how did that feel coming behind that?
You know what? So kind of had practice at it, right? So when I took over at Mainland, I took over for the guy that I coached with, Coach Scott Wilson. Coach Wilson had one of the greatest runs some Central Florida schools will ever see. I think Coach Wilson had 5 or 6 straight years of at least 11+ wins. Went to the 4th round. The only team we lost to 3 years in a row was Miami Central. We lost to Miami Central in the 4th round 4 times out of 5 seasons. And so I think that was the only team in the country that could have beaten us at any of those years. And so I think, when you're replacing a guy like that, where he's put tons of kids, because as the head coach, he's the one that gets the ultimate credit for kids going to college. You talking about kids. One year they signed 25 kids, man, to colleges on every different level. And so, Coach Wilson did a phenomenal job, at Mainland. And so I had to follow him and kind of do some things differently, doing my way, right? But follow some of the things that we put in place together. And then so you come here, and obviously, people are like, you sure you want to do that? Sometimes they say you want to replace the man that replaced the man, as opposed to being the guy that replaces the legend. But I feel like, that's something I was built for. You got to be confident in who you are too. And so obviously you're going to keep things that you can, that you like, that what Coach Herring did. And he did a lot of things that were great for this program. So there's some things we didn't touch, that didn't mess with it at all, right? But there's some things that we felt like we needed to do differently for what we like to do as a coaching staff. And so we've kind of come in and done that. But, there was no nerves about that. The thing is, there's an expectation. I always say you don't want to coach anywhere where there's not an expectation, because if you're coaching a place like that, there's no ultimate buy-in from the whole community as a whole. And so I'm glad there's expectation created because of the great things Coach Herring did here.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the buy-in. Like the buy-in, how's the buy-in, going? I seen the kids buy-in.
Right.
how about your coaching staff? Because I'm just telling you, from afar and from up close, I come to practice sometime, but from afar, just to watch the passion that these coaches coach with, man, how did that happen?
And so that's where we talk about approach. I think that I always say, man, and you can look at it in youth sports today. Kids are the easy part. Adults, we make it difficult. Our egos get in the way and all those different kind of things. And I know when I was coming, the rumor mill was put out there that, he coming in and he firing everybody. And I'm like, this is high school sports. Like, this isn't college where you can just bring in who you want. Like, you even if I had 12 to 15 people lined up to come from Florida, like, we got to have teaching jobs. All that stuff has to line up. No, so we had to come in here and make sure we establish relationships right away. And I think that was the biggest piece of trying to get the buy-in from the adults, of letting them know, like, I'm not some dictator. My leadership style is different. I think that I do a good job of making sure my coaches feel included in what's going on. And we had one-on-one sit-downs with every single coach that was on this staff, and that's where we kind of started the whole For Camden thing, because I wanted guys to know, like, if you really are truly about Camden and you're for Camden, if you leaving is the best thing for Camden, that's okay. I respect you enough to say that you're being for Camden and making that decision. And I think once guys saw who I was, they saw my heart, saw my personality, it made it easy for those guys to buy in. And I allowed them to coach. I'm not gonna thumb press them. Obviously, like I told those guys, if Jeff Herron had you here on this coaching staff, you obviously could coach. Coach Herron wasn't going to have guys around that couldn't coach football, that couldn't establish a relationship with children. And that was my biggest thing of the guys that did stay was, I know you can coach football, but how well can you establish relationships with the kids? And so as we've developed those relationships over time, I think, we've gotten a buy-in that you're seeing on Friday night, because guys are able to coach. I'm not thumb pressing them. I trust them to do their job, and that's been the best part of it. I think, because the kids feed off us. If the kids see us be one unit, they're gonna turn around and do the same thing and be a unit too.
Can you tell me something about not all of your maybe all of your coaching staff? Give me something on your coaching staff.
So, obviously, a lot of people, want to know how many people we brought in. Obviously, 4 of us came in, if you count me as being new. Myself as the head coach and calling the defense with Coach Thompson. Then Grant Alford, our offensive coordinator, the man everybody loves right now.
That's my guy.
He's surgical with it, man. And I chose Coach Alford because when I was at Mainland High School and he was calling the plays at Lake Mineola, if not for us having better players, they would have won those games. Not many times I felt like as a defensive play caller where somebody just had the upper hand on me calling plays and I couldn't figure out what they were doing. He's one of the few guys that I give that credit to, and so that's why I knew right away if we could get him, we could do something special here. He's done a great job for us.
Yeah, I talked with that guy, man. I talked with that guy for like 2 hours one night. The first night I ever spoke with him, and man, his philosophy is like on point. And you're your own defensive coordinator, right?
Yes, sir. I am. Recently, I've given Coach Thompson more leeway to call some defense. Coach Thompson done a great job. He's a former head coach, former coordinator. He was a coordinator at North Gwinnett for one of their state championship appearing teams. He's done a phenomenal job in his career, and so he's taken over some of those play calling duties for us on defense to help us out. He's taken on a bigger role than what he's had the previous years here. Coach Lester Davis, him and Coach Rafael Tolentino are the other 2 new guys. They're the reason for our special teams being so phenomenal so far this season. We've blocked a kick in every game. We've had a kick, 2 kickoff returns for touchdown, punt return for a touchdown. Our touchback kickoff team, I'm pretty sure we're in double digits on the touchbacks with our kicking game, and so we're doing a great job, man. Even our punt team, we haven't had any punts come close to being a return for touchdown. So those guys doing a phenomenal job for us.
Listen, man, I'm smiling because I had a friend and he pointed it out. He was like, man, I was like, well, for special team, he was like, look, man, our special teams is phenomenal. It's on fire. And whoever coaching that up, man, they're really doing a great job.
They're doing a phenomenal job.
It's give you all 3 parts of the game. You got offense, defense, but you got special teams. Yes, and if you don't have the special teams, then you could be in trouble when playing us.
Yeah, we break down on Friday. We have these what we call game maxims, and one of them is win the battle of the kicking game is 1/3 of the game. I tell them, we can win that third of the game. Should you win 2/3, you're good to go. And we focus so much on our special teams that we feel like that's something we're going into the game as we've already won that, because we don't think anybody prepares like we do. Our guys get about an hour and a half a week over the course of those 4 days for special teams. So we feel like the time we allocate is showing up and it's paying off for us right now.
And so with the change in your offensive philosophy, your wide receiver coach, your quarterback coach, your running back coach, and your offensive line coaches really have to they had to I mean, they had to flip it.
Yeah, so what's crazy is people think you just have to meet with the kids. Well, you can't meet with the kids until you get the coaches on board. And so what we had to do was literally we put some things on hold. And I know a lot of people were kind of this community is so locked in with the tempo of the program and some things that were normally done at certain checkpoints of the off season. It was pushed back because we couldn't go out there and say we're gonna put some things together for the kids when the coaches didn't know it. And so the coaches had to kind of go to clinic school, if it so to speak, as offense and defense to make sure we got those things in order. And I think that's where we were smart about taking our time before we put things in front of, because these kids are they know if you're not prepared, these kids will eat you alive. If you're not prepared, this community will eat you alive because they'll be able to see it. And so we had to get everybody on the same page, get everybody to learn Coach Offer's systems, get everybody to learn my system. And it helped me on defense that I had Lester Davis come here with me because he could help some of the process of it. And like I said, Coach Thompson dove right in head first, and that's why he was able to kind of study to show himself approved to be able to start calling the defense. And so things have worked out for us well, man. These coaches, had no issues being students, and they jump right in and willing to jump in with the change. I got to tell everybody, we changed where the quarterback lined up at, but when you look at our season right now, at the halfway point, we're 60-40 to run the pass. So we're still putting our face on other people's face and being a physical football team like we would if we were still running wing T.
And how long have y'all been here?
Man, I got here. I met these kids February 27th. Coach Offer he agreed to the job, I think, back in sometime in March, and then he was taking days off down in Orlando in Lake County to come up here for meetings, for workouts, for spring practice. I mean, we didn't even have him. We only had 9 days of spring practice before the 10th day was a game. We only had Coach Offered up here for I think 5 of those practices, and then even in the summer we had to get some things going. So we still are learning each other, and that's why I say that's the greatest part about it. You can tell about the execution we've had on both sides of the ball, the dedication the coaches have had, the attention to detail the coaches have had, and then the same thing for the kids. And we're still learning each other. I keep saying we're going to be dangerous once we are fully in this thing and have a real full off season. Even going into next year, I think we've got something we're building special here as a program, and so we've put in a lot of time. That's why you see some guys, energy drinks, coffee cups, because we're burning the midnight oil, man, doing this thing, trying to make sure we continue to be prepared for our region and what's coming up.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely crazy to think that you guys only been here since February, March.
Yep.
And I'm just being honest, like the schedule hadn't been the toughest schedule, but it hadn't been the easiest schedule either. When you look at the talent that you played over these past 5 games, to see where you guys are, man, I mean, I think that's a testament not only to you, but your coaches and your players. Yep. I just want to encourage the fans to get back out here, man.
Absolutely. Kids love
home side is packed, but let me tell you something. When the home side and half of the visitor side is packed like it used to be, man, it could be really special here, man. And Coach is doing a great job. Coach, now your vision for this place. I mean, and I'm asking because I know in the past we had TV games, national games. Are we looking... And I'm not trying to get ahead of, because we got region coming.
Yeah, got some big things coming.
But I'm just saying, what you see all the way down the line in this program with the players coming up, with the middle school program that's coming up, do you see us, attacking some national power sometime?
Oh, for sure. I tell everybody, the schedule that we have this year was made well before I got here. That's why I made the joke about, man, I finally get to get back with Spruce Creek because I hadn't played them since 21. We lost my first year at Mainland. And so it was a surprise to see them on the schedule. It was a surprise to see West Broward on the schedule, who we had just played, so we had no control over that. We've already had some conversation already about things that we want to do moving forward. We definitely want to be able to get into Florida and us visiting Florida. We want to go into some environments because, one of my worries when I saw our schedule this year was like, okay, we're going to play all those games at home. We won't know what a raucous environment necessarily looks like. And I know Valdosta's, their attendance goes up and down sometimes, so we don't know if it will be a crowd. I'm assuming 2 5-0 teams, battling. Some people think it's the best 2 teams in the region, whatever. I always say Coke was the best team in the region. Somebody beat them. But again, you got 2 5-0 teams. We travel well. They're going to travel well. So it's going to be a raucous environment. I wish we could have had one more away game. You know, we did go to Brunswick where it was a rivalry game. We were on the road, but we haven't been on the road since then. Right. And so I wanted us to be able. I'm looking to try to get us to those kind of games where we can go to a place where it's going to be a big time game. And obviously, if you have the appropriate players that are highly ranked enough, those TV games are going to come. You know, if these sophomores do their job and continue to rise how they're rising right now, we'll have that kind of talent, and we'll have to be able to go find somebody to either come here or we drive down and go. You know, let's see if we can get the trash power. You know, there's no problem going down there, man. That's right. I think this place can be what we want it to be. My vision, though, is for this program, everybody to be for Camden, and every decision we make as a fan, and every decision we make as a coach, as a player, as a teacher, as an administrator, we do things in mind that it's going to be for Camden. If it's for the benefit of Camden, let's do it. If it's not going to help Camden, it's not something we should be a part of. The conversation that you're around isn't for Camden. Remove yourself, because this place is unique. This place is where we need everybody to be on the same page for us to be our best. We need our us in the wrestling program to be on the same page, us in the track program to be on the same page. We have to all have the same vision, because if we're going to be for that weight room that's right next door, everybody uses that thing, not just one program. And so for us to get where we got to get to, that's my biggest vision, is for this place to be together. And I can tell you guys that are listening and watching right now, my family and friends and the people from Spruce Creek that came up from Volusia County and Flagler County to watch that game this past week, those people were amazed at the atmosphere that we have here. They were amazed at the facilities that we have here. So if we continue to do it the right way, we're going to have people come from all over to see what's going on.
I'm glad you said that, because I went down to I went and watched the Florida State Boston College game, but my nephew coaches at Gaston County. Yep. Man, you should see their facilities. It's terrible. Listen to what I'm saying. And so, how was the facilities at Mainland? They comparable to here?
No, it doesn't compare at all. I make the joke, and I can say it now, man. Like, you know, the interview process was tight and closed up, so I didn't see anything. You know, you can look at videos and you can look at pictures. I didn't see anything until I walked in here that morning to meet these children. And I want you guys to imagine, like, coming from, you know, a weight room where there's only 16 racks and the room is not that big, to walking into this football building where there's a 130 seat lecture hall. There's a 48 rack weight room with a 40-yard 3-lane turf track, like, and then there's coaches' offices. Like, this was amazing. And I had to put on this I'm not fazed by these facilities like attitude when my eyes were really, really big because, you know, the first part of the interview was at the board. Second part was via Zoom. So like it was a tough situation to come into this place and see it. You know, it makes me thankful every day though to be here. It makes me work hard to make sure I stay here. You know, I got to tell everybody I got to be here at least for 12 years for my kids to graduate, because I don't want to be anywhere else. I don't need to be anywhere else. This is football heaven for us as coaches, and so this is a blessing to have what we have, and we want to make sure we work hard to continue to build and be and have the things we have. So no, it doesn't compare at all, and I hope the people that are here, you know, understand how blessed we are to be here.
I'm glad you said that, because I think we're spoiled.
Oh, absolutely.
I really,
absolutely.
No, listen, because I'm just being honest. Because when I walked in his place, he had just went to Tiff and beat them for homecoming, first game of the season. Went up to Tennessee and beat the number 2 team in Tennessee, and then I walk into his place. Bro, listen,
Coaching
man, listen, man, listen.
Yes.
Stuff, I got pictures of it, stuff everywhere, whatever. The lights hadn't been changed. And I'm like, Coach, man, he said, man, nobody come over here and do nothing. He said, I watch this, I do this, absolutely. I do that. And then when I thought about it, I was like, man, like, I wonder what Coach came from, because he had, like, man, this make you go get it right here.
It makes you work hard every day. You're appreciative.
Yeah.
When you come from some of the Florida schools, you know, what we have to work with and what we're expected. Like I tell everybody, when people talk about expectations, when I was at Mainland High School, the expectation was the same as it is here. Win a state championship, make deep runs. You know, the resources are different. And I always say resources are not the paycheck that I receive. Resources are the weight room that we have. Resources are having a guy like Matt Mays that is literally certified as a strength and conditioning coach. That's his actual teaching position to do that.
Your support team.
You know, the support team that you have. And we have the number of coaches that we are able to pay our coaches, not just me. We're able to pay to have a very good staff, and they have offices in here that they can use, and they can have our kids, be ready. Our quarterback club just allowed us to be able to start our protein shakes back up for this program. Like, those are the things I'm talking about, where these kids are being able to get the necessary calories. They're in the necessary weight room with new equipment, not stuff that's just decrepit and old. Like, they've got the things they need, and that's the thing that separates, Georgia and Texas from other places. The people are able to put in the right work, and so it's definitely a blessing. I make jokes with our young coaches, some of the guys that have only coached in Georgia. I say, man, some of y'all, to appreciate this thing, you need to go spend a few years down in some of these counties in Florida where these programs don't have. And those coaches put in the same amount of time that you're putting in, and they understand what it's worth. So, definitely making sure we don't get spoiled by the amenities that we have.
Yeah, and I want to remind y'all again, this is Travis Roland, Coach Travis Roland, Camden County Wildcats down here in Kingsland, Georgia. Coach, you talked about Matt Mays, and you talked about physicality.
Yes, sir.
This is what I've seen. Like, we are physical and we are disciplined. Matter of fact, after one of the games, I want to say it was West Broward game, I was coming onto the field, and one of their coaches stopped me and my friend, and he told him, look, he said, hey, man, that's a well-coached team over there. And, man, dude, that was better than the win.
Absolutely.
To have another coach look over on the side and say, look, man, y'all your coach, he's coaching his butt off over there. And that's great. But where does your discipline come from? And I can pretty much say the physicality part of it is just from you as a player also wanting your team to be
Absolutely.
As the head coach.
Absolutely. So the discipline part, there's no substitute for discipline. And so we make every little thing a big
How you get
deal.
these kids these days?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
How do you get these? Because this might be a secret to the teachers. You know what I'm saying?
You can't give them an inch.
Okay.
You can't give them a centimeter. So what you want is it's like with the parents. You have to have clear expectation of what you want. And so we tell them, toes behind the line, not on the line.
Right.
Like, toe the whole line. If toes on the line, we're going to do something. There has to be a punishment in the weight room. Nobody's standing around. One person lifting, one person spotting, the other people doing their auxiliary lift.
Tell me this. Do you have other players that hold other players accountable?
So we're working on that. That's what we created. Coach Lester Davis calls our leadership council. That's his baby that he runs. And we pick 12 guys as a coaching staff. We let the position coaches pick somebody, and so we actually go through a leadership development with them. There's a curriculum that we have. We bring in speakers to teach them because the one thing be a leader. But we have to teach them how to be a leader. And so what happens is at the end of every game, you or even at practice, if you come out, you'll see. We get everybody to the goal line. We get the feet behind the line. Helmets are on. They're standing up. I'll say take a knee. If they take the helmet off while taking a knee, we have to stand back up. We didn't say take your helmet off. We said take a knee. It goes take your helmet off, or take a knee, take your helmet off, and then we start to talk. And so that's the things we've had to teach them and help them understand how to do. And that's where those little small things create discipline. Having on the proper jersey, having your helmet strapped up when we're going through warm-ups. That's where you create discipline. And then again, people had all those questions in the beginning of the season, and rightfully so. We were getting just these dumb personal fouls and late hits, and we had to start paying for that because if you don't make them pay, they're gonna keep doing it. And so that's where we had to start becoming more disciplined in what we do and just showing them that you're going to lose games because of it.
Yeah, I'm a little strange because I watch everything. And I was at the Boston College-Florida State game, and Florida State came out and Boston College came out. And, my friend's a Florida State fan, and we on the field. And you're like, man, we look good, man. I feel the energy. I look down at Boston College because my guy played quarterback for Boston College, but I look down there, and they doing everything together. I'm talking about they doing everything together. And I look at him, I say, dude, man, they look professional.
Right.
Like, they know what to do. Like, coach, like, if I pregame it right and we know then I mean, I just think a team like that is better than a team. And I'm not saying, but when we all won, oh man, I don't know if anybody could beat you.
That's us right down to the T. Like Friday, we're all Navy on Navy, and then you had the accessory colors. We gonna pick the accessory color, black, white, whatever y'all pick. Everybody's gonna wear that. And if you come out there and try to get away with it, you want instead of having black spats, you want to have navy blue. I made a couple kids take it off. Like, listen, black is black is black, white is white is white. Whatever we decide we're gonna wear for the accessory color, we're gonna wear that, and that's a part of discipline. That's a part of looking the part and everybody looking like a team. So we have to do that. And I didn't answer your question about physicality. I can tell you this. I've been having as I told some people with the personal father said, guys, I'm trying to coach wing T out of some of these kids. And what I mean by that is when you're a wing T based football team, you hitting people in the face. That's all you know. And so some of our penalties have come from effort because wing T football teams are physical. And so we've had to dial them back a little bit.
They block to the sideline.
Right. Yeah. You know, because they just block the echo, the whistle block to the sideline. But there's just no substitute. You have to be physical. That's why our practices, we have best on best periods every single week because you have to do it. And if you're not physical, football's a physical game. And you can't play that. You can't play that way. We actually took knee pads out of practice because that's going to encourage face to face, chest to chest, physical contact. You can't bail yourself out and go low. When knee pads on, you can see in the game, most missed tackles happen because you diving at angles, diving at knees. No, put your face on the face, chest on the chest, and be physical. And so that's where kind of we create those things, and then it's just a standard. As I tell the kids all the time, Camden County football, it's not the jersey. It's in how you walk. It's in how you talk. It's in how you move. It's in how you play. And that's the thing that's unique about up here. It's just ingrained in you up here to do it. And we're just here to put a little more seasoning on it that we see fit, and then let these guys be who they are.
Well, I'm so happy that they hired you, man. Because
Me too.
I'm being honest because I just think it takes where Coach Herron had took it at, and it takes it on the same level, then it's a step further because we could have hired the wrong people and it could have went another way. But we're 5-0 right now.
Right.
Let's talk about this 5-0.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of 5-0 it is. It's 5-0 going into we have an off week this week, and then we go into region play. We'll talk about that next week or sometime. But these 5 games that we just had.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about the maturity that you've seen and progression that you've seen with your team.
Yeah, well, it goes back to the buy-in because you think about we started off the worst possible way. We play in the scrimmage against Benedictine, and we get shut out. And we lose 17-0 in the varsity quarters, and then we lose. I think the young guy quarter, JV quarter, was 7-0. I think it ended up being a total of 23-0. And everything looked bad. And now, do they go home and they hear bad stuff from the parents? Oh, I told you, wing T, this is what we need to do. Oh, this offense has changed. It's going to be bad. Oh, they don't know what they're doing. Oh, look at the undisciplined. We got penalties. We got face masks. We got late hits. We got pass interferences. And so, we had to kind of really make sure as coaches we came in and made sure we didn't panic, right?
I want to stop you right there because I actually was at the game. I was on Benedictine's side. I know what type of team Benedictine has. I think it was a great scrimmage for us as far as going against a team that was disciplined, that done won multiple state titles, and we didn't play all our players. First of all, I knew that. And when I talked to you guys, you guys said, we got to beat Brunswick.
Yep.
We got to beat Brunswick. So I was like, I'm telling you, why would you? Listen, man, I'm just telling you. I mean, if we come up here and do great, that's great. But we're just trying to get some work.
Yes, sir.
To beat Brunswick. We done lost to Brunswick either 2 or 3 years in a row.
Yes, sir.
That can't happen.
Nope.
And so with that being said, I understood, what was going on, but a lot of people didn't.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And it's okay.
Yeah, I tell the kids, one of my biggest things since I've been here, and it was even the same way down in Daytona, keep the outside noise out and the inside noise in. You know, if there's somebody that's not here every day or multiple days a week, they're not grinding with you. They're not. Well, I'd say this, and that goes from the trainers, the football managers to everybody that's here all the time, like the hard hat guys that are here constantly in practice. That's not outside noise. That's inside noise, right? Those are people that's here every day. They're seeing what's going on, understand what's going on. So our biggest thing was making sure we beat Brunswick because this community was hungry for that, and we had to make sure that happened. And so we had a lot of preparation to get ready for that football team.
A good Brunswick team.
A very good Brunswick team. I told everybody, I want to see
Special
how
teams.
many. Exactly. It matters. I want to see how many teams can keep that football program from scoring 40 points. I don't think it's going to be many. I think they're going to score 40 on everybody they play, maybe up until the playoffs because they're so explosive. The defense is explosive. You know, special teams were key for us in that game, giving us 4 short field drives, and it was able to get the momentum of it. Then, you know, you go to week 2. I believe we played West Broward week 2. I think it was. It's cloudy now because I'm so far to the region. But, you know, West Broward, I would tell people, go find a secondary that's got 3 Division I football players in it. That was a secondary that played us man-to-man. Our offense had to truly scheme up ways to get us open because, again, when you're making the transition we're making, our guys aren't necessarily full total receivers just yet. Coach Troy Hobbs is doing an amazing job.
Yes, he is.
But we haven't been true receivers since March or April. I mean, that's not a lot of time to make a transition where you're going against 6'2" defensive backs that can really shift and move and do some different things. So that West Broward game was its own unique challenge. You know, Reebok full of athletes. You know, can you play these guys that they're going to test you deep? They're going to test you to do certain things. You know, Eastlake, a good young football team that was under center playing old school football. We had to be physical out there. And then I think this past week, you know, Spruce Creek's going to be a team that makes a great run. They've got 3 Division I defensive linemen. They actually offer-wise, they have more Division I football players than we do. All 3 defensive linemen Division I kids. They've got a pick committed wide receiver in Tony Kinsler. The number 3 kid that took the kickoff back, Denali Campbell, he's a Division I offer kid. The sophomore, number 1, Cam Oxendine, has a Division I offer. So they've got, they had a Kennesaw State committed defensive back. So that was a good football team that's going to make a great run in the biggest classification down in Florida. I just think you saw the best version of us on Friday, where we were good in all 3 phases of the football game. And I think that's where, if we continue to stay on that track, we're going to be in a great spot. And again, when you change schemes, you know, you go from wing T football to a power spread RPO-based offense. You go from 3-4 to 3-3-5, which that's kind of similar. But again, newsflash, we have 8 brand new starters on defense, and I believe 7 on offense. So you're talking about us having 15 brand new starters of 22. For us to be in this situation, in this position, is amazing. And I think a lot of that credit goes to our quarterback. I think what Parks and Coach Alford have done together in this short time, you know, Parks has proven everybody wrong. You know, he's 5'11". He's 175, 80 pounds, but this entire program, all 214 other kids, believe in him, and that's why they're playing the way they play.
I agree. He's been a great leader. Yep. Coach, is it anything? No, not anything. Is it any kid in the program right now that has surprised you?
That has surprised.
Yeah, from the day you came in. Yes. To where you're at now. And he ain't got to be a starter. He don't have to be in it. Just a kid that worked his butt off and got in a position, and just from hard
work. There's 2 of them.
Okay.
There's 2 of them. One is David Turner. David Turner was a defensive lineman in the last 3 years of high school. If you know anything about our team this year, you know we had, Malachi Malwin was all-region player. He came back. Jerome Roundtree was a team that was ready to step up. His best friends, Denaja Cooper. And then we had 3 sophomores, Daquan Edwards and Chunky, and then Charles Grant, who we knew they were going to be great.
Right.
So Coach Mays got with Coach Brown, and they convinced David Turner to go play offensive line. In today's world, teenagers that play defense are not trying to be moved to offensive line.
No.
But you have program kids, and this is what I talk about being for Camden. David Turner didn't look at it as the coaches don't like me. He didn't look at it as they're trying to ruin me. They're trying to say, I'm sorry. David Turner, just this past Friday against Spruce Creek, has several series of film of him blocking those Division I kids one-on-one, and getting pancakes. He's going to turn himself into a college football player because he's got room to put so much weight in that body. Right. He's one that has done everything right and took that move the right way. Because we moved some other kids who didn't take it the right way, and it didn't work out for them in the sense of how it should have because of their ability. And the other one is our stalwart at nose guard, Mr. Lee Peoples. I call him Leroy.
What number is he? What number is he?
Lee is 63.
The littlest dude?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
he is probably... He has the second highest bench on the team.
What?
And I think third highest squat on the team.
Wow.
And I call him Leroy instead of Leroy. But Lee, man, is another program kid where he's a senior. He's waited his turn. He sat behind Higginbotham and some other guys last year. And now he's gotten his opportunity to become a starter. And, Coach, these are one of the reasons why our linebacker, Xavier Brown, is running around making tackles because they can't move him. They can't move Lee, man. And when you look at him, you're thinking, there's no way this kid is a Region 1 or a State of Georgia big-time program starter, but he's proven it day in and day out. So those two kids are two kids that when I looked at them, I was like, there's no way. There's no way possible. And then when you start playing football, you watch them on film, and both of them are popping and doing great things for us.
Man, that's awesome. I think you can build on those type players.
Yes, sir.
I mean, the players with talent, but the players that you wouldn't think that's worked themselves into something, into being something and a part of the team. Those are the players that we can build this program off of. Coach, I don't want to take too much of your time today. We'll come back next week if possible. Absolutely. And talk about region play. I mean, just a little. Just give me a little.
It's coming. You know, I think when you look at it. You look at this region for the last few years, obviously Coke has won it. But when you look at, this is why I tell everybody, look at because Coke has graduated a ton. When you look at the games from last year, everybody's games were close with everybody. You know, we beat Richmond Hill by 1 score. We beat Valdosta beat us by a field goal. We pulled away from Lowndes late. Coke is the only ones that were winning by, 2+ possessions, be it 9 plus points. Everybody else were in dogfights, and so now what you see is everybody's on an even playing field. Tiff has been better this year. Lowndes is obviously undefeated. Valdosta is undefeated. We're undefeated. Coke was 2 losses. Everybody trying to oh my God, is Coke? No, it's not time to panic in Coke. They lost to North Gwinnett, who's going to be a great football team. They lost to Lee, who's a great football team. So it's going to be an interesting year. Do I think we have some of the best talent? I do.
Don't forget Richmond Hill.
Right. Richmond Hill got it. I said it.
Richmond Hill is well coached.
Yes, sir.
And physical. And they're physical.
Yes, sir.
And so with that being said, I think we match up good against them. Yep. But I think they're going to surprise some people in our region this year because they're a well coached team, and I think that they got a nice senior class also.
I told the kids today, I said, Spruce Creek came in feeling like this is the best team in their school's history. Richmond Hill's coach has said the same thing because he's had all these kids together. They've won on freshmen, some of them JV, and then obviously what they've put together on varsity. And so there's no off week. I'm thankful that we played 3 games and then have a bye week, but just play the other 2 because it's going to be some wars. It's going to be a war when we go to Valdosta. It's going to be a war when Richmond Hill comes in here. It's going to be a war when we have to go to the concrete palace of Lowndes. And so it's going to be fun, man. I think we've done a great job. Like I said, I'm so happy to be here healthy. Healthy with everybody intact, ready to go for next week, and it's gonna be fun, man. You're gonna have to coach our butt on, play our butt on.
One last question. Yep. I just want to know how y'all attack this off week. How are you attacking the off week?
Children are creatures of habit, and so if you go to changing too much, you'll kind of throw it away. So we're gonna still get our 4 lifts this weekend, and we're gonna still get our 3 hard days of practice in, and we'll go from there. We're gonna do a little team bond and stuff, a couple little skits to let the kids laugh and have some fun. But we're gonna still continue to practice like we would normally practice, so that way we don't get away from what we got going on. So we'll put some skeleton playing together for Valdosta to introduce it. So just let the kids start to see it. We don't want to overdo it because we want that prep week for Valdosta to be a normal week. So we're not going to overdo that part of it, but we're going to still prepare like we would normally do and get after it.
Awesome. Hey, thank y'all for tuning in, and come check us out next week. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
When I walked through, they knew my name. So I guess the cash came with the fame, and now my life will never be the same.
You know the game get lit when I'm in it. Youngster finna show you.